Hello and welcome to Commander in General, where in general we talk about Commander. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of my personal favorites.
She's the sparling thrower, the blood sower, the ass mower. It's Tana the blood sower.
I love me Tana the blood sower. She's a really cool partner commander. She costs 2 colorless, 1 red and 1 green. She is a legendary creature, elf druid. She is a 2/2. She has trample, and the big part of it right here, whenever Tana the blood sower deals combat damage to a player, create that many 1/1 green sapling creature tokens. So not only is this kind of a cool voltron type strategy, but it's also got this cool tribal element to it with the sapperlings, which can take us in some cool directions there. But who are we partnering her with?
By her side is the king of cute, the damage-doing newt. It's Kediss, Emberclaw Familiar.
Kediss, Emberclaw Familiar, cost 1 and a red. He's a legendary creature, elemental lizard. He is just a itty bitty 1/1. He has partner, and once again, the big part of it right here, whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent. So we've seen kind of a commander that did this on its own. The name escapes me right now. I'll put it up on the screen right here, which when she deals combat damage to one person, it deals it to everybody. Kediss gives that to any of our partner commanders, and Tana is a perfect fit for him. So let's talk strategy. While Kediss is nice to spread the love around, this deck does nothing if we can't suit up our gal. We want to get Tana in for huge attacks, build an army, and swing for lethal with either Tana holding entirely too many swords for the amount of hands she has, and having that damage reflected onto everybody else with our little boy Kediss, or through going wide and getting funky with our tokens. I'm not going to get too into lands in this deck. Use what you've got for mana fixing, but a couple good suggestions for some utility lands are Inventor's Fair, which gains us a little bit of life and later lets us tutor for an artifact. Rogue's Passage to get in those unblockable attacks with Tana and make us lots and lots of sapperlings. Kessig Wolf Run to buffer up last minute, same sort of thing. Buffer power, get her in for damage. And obviously the foil Gruul Guildgate, that is just that one door in the middle of nowhere. So let's take a look at Tana's arsenal. First and foremost, we want to make sure Tana can get through damage. Yes, she has trample, which helps, but she's also just an itty bitty 2/2 and can die really easily. Solution, unblockableness. Unblockableness. Pardon my jank, but you will catch me playing Volcanic Strengths for that juicy mountain walk and a little buff. Prowler's Helm and Whisper Silk Cloak give us that unblockable, while Whisper Silk Cloak also gives us that Shroud, which is nice for some protection. So for swinging big, Blackblade Reforged is perfect. It gives us lots of power, and for Tana and several other creatures in the deck, it'll only be 3 to equip. Mage Slayer can help double our damage on an opponent, but keep in mind that this damage will not get doubled. It's only combat damage that Kediss will double. Loxodon Warhammer gives us a decent 3/0 bump, as well as lifelink to make us feel all snug in our life totals. It does give us trample, but a lot of the creatures in our deck already have trample. Shiv's Embrace is, I think, a really cool kind of jank card in here. It gives us a little bit of evasion, and the fire breathing lets us turn our mana into damage, which turns into sapperlings, which turns into more damage. But yeah, really a cool card. It gives it +2/+2 and flying, and then yeah, the fire breathing, which, yeah. I guess I already said everything I need to say, but I love it. It's good jank. It's good jank. Hunter's Prowess is at sorcery speed, so we are going to be telegraphing what we're doing, but in the instance where we're using this, we're gonna hopefully not care. We're gonna find somebody who we can attack, give that nice little 3/3 bump, and hopefully end up drawing a bunch of cards. Sword of Perins is really nice because not only will it be buffing Tana, but that's going to be buffing all of our sapperlings as well, and that extra 2 damage on, say, 10 sapperlings is really gonna add up. If you want to give a sapperling his own little mech suit and just make him a little beefy bonsai boy, just pop him into this Stoneforge Masterwork plate and he gets +1/+1 for each other creature you control that shares a creature type with it. I think that's fun to play when you get to actually just have a menacing sapling. Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves, along with Bear Umbra, are good for protection on Tana. Bear Umbra comes with the added bonus of untapping all of your lands when you attack. Finally, Fire Shrieker gives us that sweet, sweet double strike, and if we're having trouble putting on all of these different equipments and such, then Brass Squire is here to lend a hand. Sometimes in combat we gotta get a little tricky though, and for that we have a few combat tricks. We got a few last minute buffers to get the most out of hitting our opponents, like Giant Growth for +3/+3, Screaming Fury for +5 in haste, and Titanic Growth for +4/+4. But these next 4 got a bit more style to them. Dynacharge has the added bonus of buffing all the Saprolings as well, which can be a total blowout. Tremor Battle Rage gives us that sweet, succulent, delicious double strike to give them the old 1-2. But screw Battle Rage, give me Dragon Rage. As a finisher, oh baby, this feels sweet. You're full out attacking with not only Tana, but a whole squad of little Bonsai boys. And the payoff is you get a ton of mana that you're gonna dump and turn into power for Tana, which is gonna do damage, which is gonna give us Saprolings, which we can, say it with me, turn into more damage. Fires of Yavimaya is a nice haste enabler, but this second little part here can often get forgotten. Return of the Wild Speaker gives us 2 modes that work really well for different scenarios. Got lots of little bonsai boys and need them to be slightly bigger bonsai boys? Buff them all up. Got yourself a buff boss girl Tana, but you need more fuel, and let's be honest, you just love drawing cards? Then you draw those cards. But I know what you're thinking. What if the unspeakable happens? Tana dies. Ugh. Well, then you just play her again, obviously, right? But what if the unthinkable happens again and she dies? Then just rinse and repeat, right? But sadly, there does come a time where you don't have enough money to buy another trip along the Sock and Bopper Express. So we're gonna need some other pals who can pick up the mantle and wear the wares that Tana wears when she is nowhere to be found. For these options, I want creatures that are relatively low to the ground, but also do something for us. Felduk is a perfect example. He's cheap to play, and if we have to equip him, we end up making a bunch more tokens. Sadly, they don't stick around for the after party, but hey, if you can't hang, there's the door. Krenko gives us goblins in turn for him having large power, so he's always a great choice. Rubble Belt Raiders don't necessarily need all the equipment, but having a couple pieces around to give her trample is always nice. Managorger Hydra already has the trample, plus it's going to get larger on its own just with the rotation of the table. Captain Lannery Storm and Radha, both versions, are good options for mana producers. And Predator Ooze will get bigger on its own and has the added bonus of being indestructible. We've seen some payoffs and benefits already to the tokens we're making, but now let's really get into it. Fungal Plots is another really nice token producer. We make them by exiling cards, but then it also gives us a nice little payoff by letting us sacrifice 2 Saprolings to gain 2 life and draw a card. Domri is a nice little toolkit. That little +1/+0 really starts to add up when we start getting a lot of Saprolings on the board. A little bit of mana fixing, a little bit of kind of removal there. Coat of Arms is a classic finisher for token decks, and if it doesn't get dealt with, you will spiral out of control. Throne of the God Pharaoh lets us spread the love around even more every end step by making our opponents lose life equal to the amount of tapped creatures we control, which hopefully will be lots. Hamra is a bit of a pet card of mine. Yes, it does have some hoops to jump through. It's a little bit of Joel's jank, but I really love the payoff for it. So it is 6 to play for a 4/4 that can't block, but once it dies, you flip it into an enchantment, Hamra's Essence, which gives creatures you control +2/+2 and flying. Plus, they get the fire breathing clause, so 1 red to give them +1/+0. So already, this +2/+2 and flying is crazy on all of our tokens, but the fire breathing can make us make exponentially more tokens when we have Tana out. Impact Tremors, once again, just spreading the love a little bit, getting to deal damage to each opponent every time we get another Saproling in. Crown of Doom is nice because it's a political piece and gets your opponents wasting their mana, passing it around, because whoever has this is gonna seriously be a target for you. Parallel Lives lets us have double the tokens, double the fun. Grenzo can give us some nice card advantage if we choose, or it can be some goading fun. Both things that I really love to do.
You burn a village.
Skullclamp needs no introduction, but let's just say that there is no end to the plants I've slaughtered on my search for knowledge. Thelonite Hermit both makes sapperlings and buffs them. Not really relevant, but I think this is a signed copy. If you see here, it says, looks like, I thought it said Clumpy, but if you look at the artist, it says somebody named Chippy, so I think that might be what that says, but I don't know. I just bought it like this. Second Harvest.
More.
Fungal Rebirth is just a really cool card that we get to play because it returns absolutely any permanent at instant speed, and if something died this turn, we get to make those extra 2 succulent sapperlings. A little bit more removal here. If I'm playing in Gruul, I'm playing Decimate. Destroy an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a land. 4 for 1, can't beat it. Reclamation Sage or the newer Druid of Purification both fit a similar role, and they can get rid of artifacts and enchantments along with being extra bodies if need be. Chaos Warp is a classic piece of red removal at instant speed. However, we all know Chaos Warp, and sometimes you can wind up with something worse, but I'm usually ready to take that risk. Now let's quickly go over some ramp options. I'm running a lot of the usual green ramp that I probably don't need to go over. Yeah, a lot of these options are typical and a little bit boring, but you are in green, you have access to the good stuff, so. I personally like Tempt with Discovery, Kodama's Reach, Far Wandering, Nisa's Pilgrimage, Cultivate, Sky Shroud's Claim, for the reason that they can all potentially grab at least 2 lands. Heraldic Banner gives our creatures a nice little 1/0 boost that will really pay off once we get some sapperlings. Sword of the Animist fits our equipment theme as well as ramping us a land every turn, so that's nice. Expedition Map can grab any land out of our deck, so if we need one of our utility lands, we can go scoop one out. Rites of Flourishing is a bit group huggy, but hey, I like it. And Ashnod's Altar lets us turn our sapperlings into mana, into some more equipment, into damage, into more sapperlings, and this cycle continues. And now just for some last few humdingers. We got Vedelkin Orrery. I like this because it lets our turns be a little bit more explosive. We can wait around at the table and not spend all of our mana, play on the person before us's end step, and then kind of get that 1-2 punch of being able to maybe play our commander and a piece of equipment, and then on our turn it will have the summoning sickness gone. You can equip it and attack in. I just like having this because it really lets us play more versatile. Vigor makes us not only tough to get through, but just lets us swing for the hills and grows our stuff along the way, so just really love it as a big bomb. Myth Unbound is really nice for both its effects, both reducing the cost of our commander and letting us draw a card when it's put into the command zone from anywhere, but it's double as nice when we have 2 commanders. Ivy Lane Denizen can help us both by buffing our sapperlings to go a bit wider, or we can stack those counters up on Tana to just make more sapperlings. Quartzwood Crasher is a nice new card, gives us a good payoff for playing all those tramplers that we are. Gives us some more trampler tokens, and then we keep swinging. And given the equipment gives us a lot of artifacts on the field, Molten Psyche can refill our hand and do a bit of damage to our opponents along the way. Well, there you have it. This is my version of the Tana the Bloodsower and Kediss Emberclaw Familiar deck. Yeah, it's not the 100% most competitive deck, but I have lots of fun playing this, and there's lots of cool support in the tribe that you can go into. You can go way more into the plants, you can go more into the equipment side, or you could even go an enchantment way. I just think that this pairing is really nice. It's a super fun deck to play. It has a pretty unique play pattern. It's very versatile in the way that it lets you go wide and it lets you go high, as well as being pretty quirky with all the sapperling synergies. How could you not love this little boy? However, I'm not perfect, so let me know what bangers this deck was missing. Go down there and tell me I'm not running enough card draw or whatever. But before you do, please leave this video big ol' like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this one. Write in and tell me what deck you would like me to build or maybe talk about and give a deck tech for. I'll see you next time where we talk about Commander in general.